Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen Nabiyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allimna ma yanfa'una wa zidna ilma. O Allah, benefit us through what you teach us and teach us what benefits us and increase us in our knowledge. My mouse is there. Mouse. We will start what we were discussing from yesterday. Do you remember where did we leave? What was the last thing we were discussing? Do you remember? It's very difficult to remember. So I will help you. We were discussing what is Islam. How we were discussing, we want to know, discover Islam from different perspectives, from different angles. Why? Islam cannot be defined in one go. You look to it from one angle, from another angle, from here, from there, and all this. This all totality is Islam. But when we ask, what is Islam? Any Muslim, what is the response? Submission to God, or will of God, whatever. This is one angle only. And what is that angle? What is that perspective? Meaning of the word Islam. I am not asking the meaning of word Islam, but what is Islam? Here lies the catch. You have to understand what is Islam. Okay, our course is for Dawah. Why I am going to all these details?
Foundation.
In what way? Dawah course? And I am talking again and again, what is Islam?
Deeper understanding. If we understand, we can convey it and we can implement.
Because we want to convey the message of Islam. Unless we understand what is Islam, how can we convey? Okay, so in this case, that means unless we are very clear about Islam, what is Islam, not what are the 5 pillars of Islam, what are the beliefs in Islam, what are the practices in Islam. These are one specific area of Islam. One area, one perspective is definition as a term. Another perspective, practices. So Muslims, when you introduce normally Islam, they start, Islam stands on 5 pillars. They start like this. But what is important is conveying what is Islam. So we know what is Islam. What is big deal in this? No, we do not know. This is the problem. We think we know. Yes, we know superficially. We know only theoretical aspect. We know only academic aspect. But we do not know the practical aspect, applied aspect. So here comes my role. To make the job easy, I make things simple, understandable to all of you as much as possible. I will try to do that, to simplify and present in a way that makes sense. My target is a person totally neutral, in the sense that he has no Islamic background. So I have to address such a person who totally blank how Islam should be first understood, and next step is to make him understand. Okay, if I start with pillars of Islam, then these are the practices. Why he will be attracted? Maybe they are attracted because of some reasons, but not for the sake of seeking the truth, which is the main objective of our mission, to share the truth, to share the reality. And the greatest reality is God. In Islamic understanding, He is addressed as Allah. But non-Muslims think He is Muslim God. Somebody, group of tourists for ATMT project, I put this question, you know who is Allah? American group. America, okay? America. Oh. You see their knowledge. One fellow in the group, he said, Muhammad. First time I heard, Allah is Muhammad. Then I thought he is comparing with Christianity, because Jesus is considered as God. So here Muslims have Muhammad, he would be God. But in the group, his colleague corrected, no, he is God. I said, okay, Muslim God? He said, yes. I say, yeah, this is the problem. He is not Muslim God. I said, he is God of Muslims, he is God of Christians, he is God of Jews, he is God of Hindus, he is God of even atheists, those who do not believe in God. But God is a reality. If you believe, accept it, it's okay. If you don't believe, so far as I am concerned, my interaction with you, I am okay. But my job is to explain you the reality. God is the greatest reality. But this reality is not seen. That's why we say unseen reality. Not even unseen, unimaginable reality. So such a reality, when we are not able to see or get hold of it from five senses, you know, five senses, seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, tasting, five physical senses, and even otherwise philosophy or mythology. These are the sources. But people, after realizing nothing makes sense, so they become atheists, agnostics. They don't care God is there or not. Without any belief in God, I am very happy. I am living a good life. So this is their attitude. That means they are denying, or they are not aware of the unseen reality, unimaginable reality. And what in their religion, in their childhood, they were told about God didn't make sense to them. So they totally denied. When they thought their religion, for example, Christianity, is the true religion, and that true religion in their concept, they did not have the convincing evidence for Jesus to be God. They think all other religions, including Islam, which is pagan religion also, they do not believe. So when we use the word Allah, they say Muslim God. Like Hindus, they use the word Bhagwan, Hindu God. So, understanding God has to be, the source has to be God Himself. That's why we say true God. All gods imagined by humanity other than Islam, they are not true gods. These are false gods. Why false God? Because what they understand as God is not the creator, sustainer, but they are taking God, the creatures, the created things, humans, Jesus, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, sun, moon, objects of nature, stars. People worship moon god. There are people who worship stars. Animals, cow, elephant, Hindus worship. There is God. So, what is the fallacy in this? Since God is beyond imagination, if something is brought into imagination, it cannot be God. If you say something as your imagination, your philosophy or something, then it is not God. God is beyond imagination. That's why it is very important that the source of the information about who is God, how is He, what is our interrelationship, how He looks at it, how we look at Him, this information has to come from no other entity than God Himself. But God is not imaginable, so how can we know? So the whole thing falls in the court of God. He has to tell who is He, how is He, and what He wants from us. And for that, God doesn't come to every human being telling, I am this, this is the information about unseen reality, God. But His way is, He chooses the best persons in humanity whom we understand as prophets and messengers. And God conveys this information about unseen reality of God, not only God, but life after death and other things related. And this information has been communicated throughout human history, right from the beginning. This was information, true information was available. But what happened? This information was not preserved. This information was coming to human beings through preaching, word of mouth. One generation to another generation, they passed on this information on unseen realities, that means God, life after death and related things, through word of mouth, through preaching, through teaching. There was no record. What is brought into record, and we see scriptures, religious scriptures, they were written down after many years. In case of old religions, many centuries. So, it is very likely that we lose the true concept of God. So, people start imagining about God, and something very powerful or very impressive, they make it God. See miracles and they take it God. So all this deviation started. So God corrected this by sending another prophet. And they conveyed the same message. So every prophet had to convey the same one and the same message about the reality of God. Who is He? How is He? What is our interrelationship? Until this process continued until the last prophet, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Why he was lost? The same message when it is there. Why he was last and final? Because this was the time when human civilization had reached a level in progress when they were able to preserve the message from God. Earlier message, there was no means to preserve. There were no paper to write. No, not even primitive form to write down during the time of the Prophet. There were no writing material. Even the language was evolving. For example, yes, sister, what are you looking for? Sorry? Oh, you just ask. Okay. Yes. Yes.
You can continue.
Yeah, but people will see somebody is standing there, their focus. Shaitan, no? Shaitan becomes active. He takes this particular chance to deviate attention. Anyway, we have to continue. We cannot wait. So, what I was telling you, now you tell me.
The human, they are capable for understanding and preserving the Quran. That is the reason, the final testimony.
So, if the finally, the message from God was preserved when humanity was ready to preserve it, when humanity had the means to preserve it. Previously, even language which I am speaking, what is this language? English. 200 years back, that English I cannot understand. If you go to England, there are some people, old people, their English, Shakespearean English, for example, it's changing, language changes with time. So imagine hundreds of years. So it was not possible to preserve the message. But when the civilization reached the stage of development, at the time of Prophet ﷺ, this was the ripe time, the right time and ripe time to reveal the message for preservation. Not only this was one aspect, the other aspect was previously prophets were sent with reference to the local community, with reference to that particular place, whereas final prophet was sent to whole humanity, for all mankind. And the message revealed was such that it is valid, it was valid, and it will be always valid. It had the flexibility, the language has the flexibility to convey the message in the past, from the time of Prophet ﷺ. They understood the message. Today we are understanding the message, future also. So this is the final stage of development. This was the time. But essentially, the message is same. Belief systems regarding unseen realities, absolutely no change. Truth doesn't change with time. Truth, which was 10,000 years ago, after 10,000 years, truth doesn't change. I give the example 2 plus 3, 5. With time 5, the answer 5 doesn't change. In the past it was not 4, in future it will not be 6. It remains 5. Where 10,000 years behind or 10,000 years afterwards. So truth remains same. So since this is truth, but unseen truth, unimaginable truth, truth remains truth, unchanged. So these are the aspects, finer aspects, which we must understand first when we communicate with non-Muslims. So we have to define Islam, why all this introduction, in a way which is practically understandable to a non-Muslim in a simple language and making sense. That means he nods his head or she nods her head. Yes, that means it makes sense. But if you say something which is purely your own way of practicing, why you pray like this? Allah has commanded us, or Islam commanded us. This is the right answer, technically right. You are not telling wrong. But this is not right answer also. This non-Muslim is not able to understand why this particular type of prayer, whereas they are going to church, for example, and then singing, dancing. People are to worship idol, going to temple, putting bell, putting some prasad to the idols, some offering idols, all those things, practices. So they think Muslims have some practices like this. It is their own way of doing things. So there is the door to further investigation is closed. Your answer should be such that it opens the door to related questions. Until you reach the final stage, you have to interact step by step to reveal the reality. In one go, if you tell, it will be like bombarding. It doesn't make proper impact. So I am trying to define Islam from different perspectives. So last session, I tried to define its meaning as a language, Arabic language word, meaning as a term, Islamic term, religious term, and then as a way of life. Islam is a way of life, deen. Islam is not religion. What is religion? Religion is defined as the spiritualistic, that means dealing with spirituality, and ritualistic, there are some rituals, aspect of human life. That means there are two areas in human life. One deals with spirituality and rituals, the other deals with worldly things, secular, mundane, material things. So there are two different things in the concept of the word religion. But Islamic concept of religion is not division of life into two compartments. So from this angle, we defined anything you do, morning to evening, birth through death, all activities in life, they are covered in Islam. This is Islamic activity. This is one definition. That means this is a way of life. For example, you are eating, drinking, sleeping, getting education, playing football, enjoying through sports, all entertainment things. They become religious if you bring God into picture. That means we see the guidelines from God. God has addressed every issue, and Islamic terminology, these activities are divided into 5 categories. All the do's and don'ts, halal and haram, they have been identified and divided into 5 categories. One is you must do, the other category is you must not do. Very extreme, this 5. You must do, you must not do. Any activity, the Islam guides, you must do, you must not do. Then there is one category, you may do, you may not do. It's your choice. There is no harm, there is no sin If you do not do, and there is no reward, the positive side, no reward. If you do, they are neutral. These activities are classified as mubah. But same activity, if it is done bringing God into picture or putting God in our mind and seeking God's pleasure, or in other simple words, seeking God's approval, His pleasure, then the same activity which has no reward, no punishment, it carries reward. The simple example is smile. We smile morning to evening. When I am meeting with someone with smile, this becomes an act of worship. It becomes sadaqah. It becomes sadaqah, which is religious activity, and we get reward. So this statement is based on the Prophet's teachings. So I am not going to those details, but I want to make the point, there is nothing which is religious and secular as two compartments. Every activity is Islamic. This is the way of life. So if you organize the way of life in a way, it fulfills the rights of the one with whom you are interact, then this becomes Islam, Islamic activity. Provided you seek the approval from God or seek the pleasure of God. So this is total way of life. So this was the point we already discussed, but I am repeating. And it has two components. The fulfillment of rights has two components. I understand is as a vertical component, which means referring to Creator. And there is a horizontal component which refers to creatures. Among creatures, I identified separately on the next slide. There are 4 areas. This is Creator and these are creatures areas. So we have rights to fulfill here. So I listed this yesterday. This is the totality of Islam. This is the structure of Islam. They are not pillars of Islam. When we start introducing Islam with pillars of Islam, pillars are pillars. It is not house where you can live. Nobody can live in a place where only pillars are there. You need roof, you need walls, you need doors, you need windows, you need ventilator, and on and on and on. Then it becomes a livable place. So that whole structure, that building. So this is the starting point. Islam is not just pillars. Islam is totality of this. It's like a house. So we must try to understand what is that structure, or what is that building which we say Islam. So this point is explained in this. There is one more angle from which Islam can be defined. I tried to define this particular perspective, especially for non-Muslims. So when I want to define Islam to them, I define anybody, any person on earth, any time in history, now or before, if you are in China or America, any place on earth, any time in history, whoever recognizes God, true God, not only recognizes, the next step is to accept. I recognize this is the truth, I accept the truth, and the truth demands something, I submit to the truth. So this submission is the ultimate result. So this is Islam. Islam is not a religion. In this case, this is an attitude of human being towards Creator. It is an attitude of submission, attitude of devotion, attitude of obedience. This attitude is what is to be understood as Islam. This is not me, this is not my concept, this is not my perspective. It is the perspective which is presented in the Quran. Quran explains this. That's why we say Adam alayhi salam his religion was nothing but Islam. He was a Muslim. Ibrahim alayhi salam was Muslim. Musa alayhi salam was Muslim. Isa alayhi salam was Muslim. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was Muslim. With this definition. The Quran talks about even Fir'aun. He said, I am now among Muslims. His identity was, with the word used is, I am now among Muslims. I accept the God of children of Israel when he was drowning. At that moment, he acknowledged there is God. I accept the God which Bani Israel worship, and I want to submit to him. Then God says, it is too late. Now you are going to die, and now you are telling this. You had ample time, you have been given. Ample time they have been given. No, you did not stop. Kept on going. Now, this is the outcome. So, what I want to say is, even Fir'aun, in the Quran, even Fir'aun is projected as Muslim or claiming as Muslim. That means religion Islam. So, this particular aspect, what we can say, inclusive aspect. Anybody on earth, any time in history means everybody, all humanity is included. We do not say your religion, my religion. This is talking about our religion, not you and me, us, we. So this is inclusive approach. So this approach is very effective. I discussed with Christians, Buddhists. Of course, Buddhists, some group, they do not believe in God. So that is a separate category. Atheists, agnostics, non-believers in God. This is one category, we have to deal differently. But those who believe in God, all of them, with my argument and explanation of this, they agree. They cannot deny the way I proceed, so I want to share with this. Okay. Why we define like this? Why all the prophets we consider Muslim, including Buddha, for example, or Rama and Krishna, for example, or Confucius and Tao in China, Japan. They may be prophets. So the Quran informs us that God is not partial, that He will guide only in Middle East. God is God of all humans, not only humans but all creature. So He wants to guide the creature to do the job for which the creature was there, created for. So it's God's responsibility to guide. And this thing is mentioned in these two verses. To every nation, to every human community, every qawm has been given a messenger, a guide to guide them. Okay. So among them, not every name is mentioned by name. Every prophet is not mentioned by name. Those names only appear which were known to the Arabs, the area, people in the area. They were knowing all the Bani Israel prophets. They had the stories which they knew through the word of mouth, and they were aware. So those things were mentioned. But Quran says, that means God says, there are many whose names are not there. Now we can put this way. What about the prophets and messengers in the area which is India, China? They were big civilizations in the past. Big civilizations. People used to visit these lands to investigate, to discover. People are not visiting Arabian Peninsula as much as China and India. There were travelers. The history books record this traveling. So these were thriving civilizations. That means there must be a prophet. There must be a guide. So, but the names we don't know. But we have the names as Buddha or Rama or Krishna in India and Confucius in China. So these names, probably they could be prophets. Why we say probably or most likely? Because we are not sure. We can be sure provided the Creator informs us. That means Quran tells us. But Quran has not mentioned the book. But the other evidence that to every people there is a guide that makes us think that they could be. Now we see their belief system is very strange. How can we accept them as prophet? This is another confusing thing. So for that, we solve this problem. And inshallah, future will be clear on this. This is verse which tells that what is wrong with human beings. Every creature is Muslim. Every creature has submitted to Allah. What happened to human beings? You have been given choice, so you are using the choice in the wrong way. To use this tool, aql, intellect, reason, to scrutinize what you are accepting. So this is to tell that Islam is not limited only to human beings. Islam is an attitude of submission. Human beings have the choice to submit or not to submit. But other creatures, the sun, the moon, the angels, and all plants, animals, they don't have choice. So they submit automatically by default. So now what we conclude? We conclude these things. The major world religions today, which exist today, and we consider major world religions, ancient religions, they were nothing but the same religion, Islam, but it is not understood as with a religious title. Because Islam is not a religious name, it is not a religious title, it is an attitude of submission, devotion to the Creator. So this is the basic point. If this is understood, then we have understood Islam. We think one definition of Islam is a religion. Is it right or wrong? Somebody No, Islam is a religion. This statement is right or wrong? Sorry? No, it is right. If suppose somebody gives you a form to fill, what is your religion? What do you write? Islam. And it's true. But the understanding of Islam we don't have. Why we take that's true? Because the world recognizes this particular as religion from when? From the time of Prophet Muhammad. This name, this title did not exist before him. This is historical event that Islam became religion after Prophet Muhammad. Until then, what was it? Jesus did not say, my religion is Christianity. Buddha did not say, my religion is Buddhism. Rama did not say, my religion is Hinduism. Confucius did not say, my religion is Confucianism. So these are names, titles given for identification. Those who follow Jesus, we should identify this group of people as Christians. So those who started following Prophet Muhammad, they were identified as Muslims. Of course, they are Muslims by any definition, every definition, but they are Muslims not in the concept of general definition of religion. That doesn't apply. This is an attitude of our relationship with God. Islam is an attitude of submission to what the Creator wants from us. So, what does it mean? Originally, the present day, all the religions which we identify with such certain names, they were nothing but Islam. Islam in the sense of submission, in the sense of attitude, not in the sense of religious name. There are two things. We should not get confused. One is historical development, which is acquiring name as Islam from the time of Prophet Muhammad. But another concept is, a basic concept, the Quranic concept, this is an attitude. That's why Quran never addresses Muslims, Ya ayyuhal Muslimun. Why? There are commands to Muslims, but we read Ya ayyuhal Kafirun, but nowhere we find Ya ayyuhal Muslimun. Why? Ya ayyuhan nas, when Allah wants to address people, Ya ayyuhan nas, whole mankind, humankind, everybody, addressing everybody, ayyuhan nas. But when he wants to address Muslims, never even once, Ya ayyuhal Muslimun. Why? Because this is not religious title. This is an attitude. So how he addresses? By what statement? Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. This is a descriptive name. It's a functional name. We believe, we accept, and we obey. This attitude is Islam. So when we follow Islam, Allah addresses with reference to Quranic definition, not with reference to our definition. As a religious name, it's not a religious name, it is an attitude. This is the concept of Quran. Quranic definition is Quranic concept. How Quran explains Islam? Quran explains Islam as an attitude of submission, devotion, obedience to the Creator. Whether before Prophet Muhammad or after Prophet Muhammad. So this is the descriptive name. It's not a title. It is not a label. You have put label to Christianity, Buddhism, Hindus and all this. These are labels. Why these labels are there? To identify. When there is a computer, here it is written Dell. If it is not Dell, I don't know who made it. Dell, yeah. My computer is HP, Hewlett Packard. This is identification, to identify some particular make. So all religions are identification labels, not descriptive names. Only Islam is the descriptive name. It describes the function. It's a functional name. Function of submission, devotion, obedience. Not only human beings, for every creature. It is that broad, its application. This is to be understood. Unfortunately, only few understand, of course, only learned people understand, but not common man. But what is wrong with the information which is useful and fact, it is not available with common man. There is nothing to do PhD or to go to Islamic university to know this. No, this is simple thing. It is mentioned in the Quran. So what goes wrong? We do not get the knowledge beyond information level. We get an information, Islam as name of the religion. So that's all. Then what is next level? Understanding level. What do you understand? Of course, we have understanding, but superficial. This is not enough. Superficial level is required for the kids, for the children, because they are not mentally matured enough, intellectually not matured enough to go to have a deeper understanding. Deeper understanding comes with maturity, physical maturity, intellectual maturity, spiritual maturity. The person becomes mature enough to grasp what this information relates to. So this is deeper understanding. And our understanding, which is information level or superficial level, as we understood, which were taught to us when we were young, child level, this information we received and we retained the same level. We grew physically but not intellectually. We became adult physically, not intellectually, because we closed the door of thinking, deeper thinking, analyzing, going deep. The scholars, Islamic scholars, they go deep. Even if the number one scholar, he will be very humble. He says, I don't know. And they define, if somebody says he knows, but that means he doesn't know. Because someone who knows, he knows that this is not the limit. There is more to know. So he says, I don't know. He is humble. So this is our problem, that we do not have a deeper understanding. What do I mean by deeper understanding? This, such aspects. What is Islam? Start with what is Islam, not with practices of Islam, not with belief systems in Islam, not with civic features in Islam, not with outward appearance of Islam, Muslims. This is an attitude towards God, that of submission, obedience, self-surrender, accepting everything what is communicated willingly, lovingly, consciously. So this attitude is Islam. So when we introduce Islam, we have to highlight this particular attitude. You should come out from this identification level approach. Islam is irrelevant. Islam is devotion. So if Hindu is devoted, then he is Muslim. The problem is, he is devoted to God, but not true God. So our job is to convey him what is true God. If a Christian has an understanding of Jesus as Son of God, he is a believer, but his belief is polluted. God doesn't have a son. So if this particular impurity is removed, then this is devotion, submission. He reaches the truth. So you have to filter out such things which are human interpolations, human understandings, which are defective. So if these things, if they are sorted out, then we reach the truth. Originally, every religion, Hinduism, Christianity, Judaism, all these things, nothing but Islam. This is the statement. But as the time passed, for example, Buddha taught Islam, Gautama Buddha in India taught Islam, nothing but Islam. He was, if he's considered as prophet or messenger, he taught Islam, nothing but Islam. But what happened? Since the Buddhist scriptures were written down after 500 years or 1000 years, all those teachings were not available to future generations, next generations, for 10 generations, 5 generations, 50, 10, so many years. And then the information is reaching them. This information cannot be true information. This is, I'm talking about Buddha. Why that far? The closest, historically closest religion to Islam is which one? Christianity. The things, what happened to Christianity? Jesus was not teaching Christianity. What was he teaching? Islam. But this became a Christian religion. This happened within 5-6 centuries. The Prophet was born 570 after Christ, Jesus Christ. So this happened. Then what will happen to those things, those religions which are 2000, 3000, 4000 years ago? You cannot expect purity. So much of time has passed, so much of impurity has gathered. If the car is standing in the open, gradually it will get dirt, and then if you live in Bahrain, then in 1 week time it will be full of dust. So this dust has to be removed. Okay. So what happened? With the passage of time, the deviation took place. From original purity, we deviated. But deviation also to various degrees at different places. And the religion, the same religion, Islam, which was original teaching of, for example, I will take example Buddha. It took name Buddhism. Buddhism took name not at the time of Buddha. It came much later. We don't know when it started, but it did not start during the lifetime. The word Christian was not available during the time of Jesus. And the Bible reports, the first time this word appeared in Antioch, Antiochia, 40 years after Jesus. So what was he teaching? He was a Jew. He was going to synagogue. He was teaching nothing but Islam. But the name given is Christianity. See, this is the points concerning the names. So we are confused. Why so many religions? No, there are not so many religions. The same Islam. It's deviation from the original religion to different degrees, and different names are given to same thing. Some religion which originated very long ago is called Hinduism, Buddhism, Confucianism. Some religion which was not that old, like Christianity, he took the name Christianity. So names have no sanctity. And we say we have similarities. So now Adhan is going on. We'll stop here. I'll pick up from this point. But then now I have to proceed fast. So I think I was able to clarify the foundational aspect to understand Islam first before conveying them. So Islam first is to be seen what the Quranic concept is there. It is not a religious name as we are thinking religious name. So we think parallel, this religion, this religion, this religion. So among them, Islam is there. You go to a supermarket, one product by different names, made in Japan, made in China, made in Taiwan, made in all those. So I choose something which attracts me. So it is not parallel thing. If there is a religion, it is only one. If you are seeking religion, you are seeking relationship with God, you are seeking spirituality, this is the only truth. If you are seeking the truth, this is the only truth. Other things are untrue, falsehood. So I will proceed and go faster, inshallah, because today we have to finish. My 5 days have to be compressed into these 2 days. So I laid a lot of time to make the foundation strong. I hope it helped you in understanding Islam. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh again. Where did we stop? What statement was the last one? From where on I have to pick up. So let us connect to the previous sitting. Anybody?
Buddhism come after Buddha, Christianity come after Jesus. Same like the name identification was come, but all the people bring the same message, one God.
Yes, this was the gist of this. But I came to one.
All the messengers
Yes.
were from Islam.
Yes. Every religion is Islam. Originally Islam. But how is it possible when they have different faith-related issues, different practices, they are not worshipping one God, how they could be?
There's a similarities between all the religions.
So this was the point that we conclude that original teachings of Islam deteriorated with time, and deviations went to great extent for the older religion, to less extent for the later religions, and they gave their own names, identification labels, names. So there is no sanctity for those names. what I was trying to say to justify how I can say this was original religion. We still have similarities, isn't it? There are similarities between Islam and Christianity. What are the similarities? For example,
They both believe life after. Both they also believe the life after death. The heaven and the hell.
yeah. How can we connect to Christian? To start with similarities.
They believe from Prophet Adam until Prophet Jesus. We believe from Prophet Adam until the final messenger.
They believe in Jesus. Who else believes in Jesus? Nobody except Muslims. This is so common. Jews don't believe in Jesus. Jews believe that Jesus was an impostor. They wanted to kill him. They considered enemies. Okay. What are the things which we can identify similarities in Hinduism, brother? Indian group. Do we have similarities with Hinduism?
Yeah. There are,
Yes.
speak the truth.
Sorry?
Speak the truth.
Oh, this is philosophical statement. I want one concrete
There is one
faith, their faith and our faith.
in Hinduism.
Sorry?
In Hinduism, there is one verse in their book says, "For God no pratima, no statue."
Yeah, that's not said.
Same thing like "Walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad."
No, not all those things. I am sitting before a Hindu. I want to say we both were originally same. That's the reason you believe this and we also believe this. So what is that? For example, Christians, I cited the example. You believe in Jesus, we believe in Jesus. This is commonality. Both have same thing, similar things.
Year after life. No, they don't.
Life after death.
Karma.
Karma.
They believe in karma.
Yeah, yes. Life after death. What do they say?
Do good, you will find good.
Avagaman.
That's a rebirth.
Yeah, this is rebirth. Resurrection. Swargam and Narakam. Swarg and Narak. What does it mean? Paradise and hell. How the hell you believe paradise and hell? This was the original teaching of Islam, that the end is either paradise or hell. Paradise is a place of bliss, positive things. Hell is a place of suffering, negative things. They have this same. Of course, the faith is same but in a deviated form, in an impure form. So what I am trying to impress upon this, remove the impurity and you will find the truth. And you will find what we believe in Islam. So I have to point out where something has gone wrong. Where did impurity gather? Impurity gathered because your teachings are not the original teachings of Buddha, Rama. What they taught, you don't know. Where is the proof? This was what they taught. They don't have any proof. Because their teachings are not preserved. Their teachings were recorded, brought into written record thousands of years back, later on, than the Rama, Buddha. Buddha's preaching, whatever he preached, no information. But whatever information has reached at the time of writing it down, when they were writing scriptures, which was At least 500 years after Buddha, they are writing the teachings of Jesus. After 500 years minimum. Some scholars, Buddhist scholars said 1,000 years. So many generations passed. So many years later you record something. How is it possible to preserve? So you don't have information. You have only glimpses. You have only some vaguely defined, vaguely conceived idea about what you believe, what we believe. Since we have purity of belief, since our things were recorded, as soon as they were communicated to human beings, we claim it is trustworthy. But those things which were recorded many generations, centuries later than the teacher, the guide, the prophet, how can we? Chinese whisper is one example. 10 persons stand in a line, one on the one end, he tells something in the ear of the person standing next to him. And whatever statement the first person gave in his ear, that information he has to whisper to the number 2. What number 2 hears, he has to whisper number 3. Number 3 then continues until number 10. And then you ask, what is the statement? And you will be surprised, the statement has changed. It is not the same which was communicated to number 1. And this happened in the same line. What about 500 years? Not same time, 500 years. Particularly in the areas which for sure they are speculative. You are imagining. For example, God. God is not very definable. You have to, whatever information communicated from God about himself, this communication was passed on to next generation through word of mouth, and the teacher explained correctly, but in order to make it simple to be understood to common man, he compared with something, and then next generation down the line, this speculative thing has changed. You cannot imagine God, so the imagination of God, which was true, pure concept, got polluted, got adulterated when time passed. So we have to remove the impurity and the human addition or deletion for something. If you do this process of purification, then what you will come up is Islam, nothing but Islam. So this is the point. Did you understand, or did I communicate properly? You to understand? What I trying to convey is, we say we share or we have things, commonalities, similarities. They are not similarities. Similarities, the question of similarity comes when we see as parallel, competitive. This thing is competitive. Dell laptop. I want to see difference between Dell and Hewlett Packard, between Sony. And all this is I compare. They are parallel. This is what I mean by parallel. They are standing with reference to each other. But Islam, the true Islam, is no competitor. This is truth. So truth doesn't have any competition. The truth doesn't have any competition. There is no two answers to truth. Between point A and point B, how many straight lines you can draw? How many? Point A, I am drawing a straight line to point B. How many straight lines are possible to join these 2 points? Only one. So this point you can imagine as human being. This point is God, true God. So human being to God, there is only one straight line, one straight path. In Arabic, Siratul Mustaqim. Ihdina Siratul Mustaqim. What do we mean by this? This is the true path. Straight line. No hanky-panky. There is no deviation. If you make an angle here and draw a line, straight line, sorry, this is not straight line. This is straight line. But what happens? Little angle, very small angle, with time, with distance, the difference from the truth is this much. And by the time it reaches nearby, the differences can increase. With time, you get away from the truth. Straight line, only one. Truth, only one. Sirat Mustaqim, only one. Man-God relationship, only one. True God. This is the idea of telling them. In other words, simple words, we can say, whole humankind started with point A and proceeding in this straight line to reach point B. In the beginning, more or less very close to it, even there was some deviation. That means we were all going on a highway. To give a simile or an example, we were walking on a highway which reaches the destination. But on the way, what happens? Some people got into side roads, bylanes, and they thought they are reaching the destination. They will not reach destination. The destination is on this track, not on this track. If you deviate, you will be lost. So, we say, we have to explain them, come back to the track. Don't go making an angle, go on the same highway, which is taking you to the destination. What is the destination? What is the destination? True God. True God. What is true God? No. This is our belief. We call him Allah. But that non-Muslim, what is true God? What do you mean by true God? I explained this yesterday. Yeah. The information about God has to come from God. Then it becomes true God. Otherwise it is your imagination, your philosophy, your mythology. Something which is the product of your mental thinking, mental approach, involvement of the human brain. Out. No human brain. The truth about the unimaginable reality has to be, this right source is God himself. So true God is the information about God or the concept of God, the source of which is only God. If any other source, out. No source is trustworthy, dependable, because these are imaginary forces. And this source, which is come from God, we have not seen God, We cannot imagine God, but still God has communicated, and we have the communication from such people who are most trustworthy. We call them prophets, messengers. So receive this true information about God through messengers. So that information has been communicated to human beings from day one. When the first man walked on the earth, this information about God was available. And the Quran says in Surah Baqarah, originally whole humankind was one brotherhood. As the time passed, people started differing. Then God sent more people to guide them, prophets, messengers to guide them. But those who did not listen to the prophets, they were stubborn, they remained stuck to their traditional way to proceed. They left highway, but they didn't want to come to join the highway. They remained there on their bylanes. So what our dawah is, come back to the track. Our message is, come back to the original path which takes you to the destination. This is the message. Some people, non-Muslims, say, okay, we have so many religions. Every religion teaches to connect to God. So if you have the God, imagine as an example, top of a hillock. And you can reach the top of the hillock from any side, 360 degrees, from left and right, or north and south, and any direction you go, you will reach. So how does it matter? You are Muslim, you are trying to reach God, same God, and we are Christians, we are Hindus, we are reaching from our own way. Do you agree? They are correct. It makes sense, no? You take any path, ultimately we are reaching same. So that there is some sense in this particular argument. Yes, please.
But the destination, the concept of God is different, so the destination is not the same for them.
Yeah. So the fallacy is, as the sister pointed out, there is a fallacy in this particular argument. They say we are reaching the same point, God, whichever way you take. This is the wrong statement. We are not, our destination is not the true God. Your destination is God as imagined by you. That means God not on that point which Muslims are pointing out, this is the true destination. You have imagined, Christian has imagined this as destination, Hindu has imagined this as destination, because this concept of God in Hinduism is different than Christianity. How can they be same? So this is the basic fallacy. So we should say your destination wrong. I want to go to Bahrain airport. I have to come to Muharraq. But if I am going to Rifah, you will not get to airport. Rifah is not in that direction. So you have to have the proper direction to go about, and that direction is available. What God has informed us. What is the Sirat al-Mustaqim? What is the destination? So this is basically to explain in a nice way, convincing way to a non-Muslim. We are not different people. Islam is not competing with you. We are not competitors. We are reminders. We are reminders. We want to bring back to the track. What we are doing is calling you to come to the same track which you left. So this is essentially the what I call inclusive approach. That means whole humankind is one brotherhood. And these divisions labeled as names of the religions, these divisions are not acceptable. This is development of human history. And we have sound arguments, sensible arguments to say things have changed with you, not with us. The names are given by not the so-called founders, but by another party. Name Jesus, Christianity. Who has put this name? Who are the people who gave this name? Christian. You know that? Do you know that? Who? No?
Jesus, Jew people.
The enemies of Jesus. Who are the enemies of Jesus?
Jesus.
Jews and pagans. And this word Christian first appeared in history not referring to Jesus as Savior, but referring to demeaning these followers of Jesus. These Christians, these followers of Jesus, they are apostates. So this label was given to them by enemies of Jesus. But later on, Saint Paul took up and he gave a different picture. He was very convincing, he was a very knowledgeable person. He tried his best to condemn the Christians, to eliminate Christians, to even eliminate Jesus. Then when he found it's not possible, if you do not achieve your goal, then one strategy you do is you join them and make deviation. So that means this particular point you have to make it blurred. So this person who coming in this direction, he may think, yeah, this is the right. So Paul was successful. This is historically established that the Christianity which is taught to Christians nowadays is not the Christianity which was based on Jesus' teachings. Jesus was teaching something, Paul is teaching totally opposite. If Jesus is saying this is the door, exit is here, Paul says no, exit is here, and he proves. He was very learned person, very knowledgeable person, he was very clever person. He was Jew, but very in good terms with the pagans, Romans, who were in power. So he was a very tactful person. So he succeeded in making this division, and the Christianity of today is based on teachings of Paul, not on teachings of Jesus. So this thing, when I discovered myself first time, then I thought it is a very good point. So I wrote a book. First I gave a talk to Filipino Christians, and they are more open-minded than other Christians. So they were very happy and very positive response came. So somebody suggested, why don't you put it in writing as a book? So I produced a book. Islam and Christianity as seen in the Bible. I tried to find Islam in the Bible, in the teachings of Jesus. So I picked those beliefs, Islamic beliefs, Tawheed, prophethood, life after death, all those things are there in the teachings of Jesus, like true Islamic teachings. Not only this, the practices, the praying, fasting, and all those things are Also, the teachings of Jesus, teachings of the Bible, those things. So these people say these are similarities. And I say no, not similarities. They are the remnants, leftovers of the original Islam. That means it is not parallel thing. This is the only thing. You are removing the dirt, making it pure, and now you see the truth. So this approach. So this point I have already discussed, that names of other religions have no sanctity because they are identification labels, and these names are acquired at different places at different times. And these names are not given by God or even by the so-called founders. Buddha did not claim that he founded Buddhism. Jesus did not claim he is the founder of Christianity. So these names are derived, the names of other religions are derived after the name of the founder, like Jesus, Christ, from Christ, Christianity, Buddha, Lord Buddha, so Buddhism, name of the founder. When this founder was not there, then where was the religion? But you see attitude of submission to God, this was there. With the earlier human beings, later human beings. So this attitude or function or description is in fact the Islam. Understanding Islam is an attitude of submission. Place or tribe, tribe means Judah. Judah is a tribe, Bani Israel tribe. From that the name Judaism came. And the place in Hindu, from Hind means India. So this is name of the identification. We have to identify with some name is given. His name is Salman. Why? To identify him Salman. If I say Salman, he will raise hand, yes, what do you want? George Bush. He was not having any bush, but he was given name, George Bush. Jim Baker, he was not baking bread. This was not his function, but this is identification level. But Islam, the name Islam is not like that. Islam is unique name. It is descriptive name. It is functional name. It is this name given by who? By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Creator Himself. True God Himself has given this name. Inna dina indallahi al-Islam. The way to submit, which I have described, this is the right way. This is the right attitude. Okay. Now, proceeding on the same concept, inclusive approach. What does it mean? God is one. The Creator is one. How it is one? I mean, every religion almost recognizes, one way or the other, there is one supreme being. This is another thing, that this oneness is compromised by associating more partners, more gods, by associating more godly powers given to others. They don't have pure monotheistic concept. No concept of one God. But ultimately they have the concept of one supreme being. Who is the creator? God is one creator. He created. So we have to talk more on this to explain our point. But enough to say God is one. Humankind is one species. One species. One creature is identified as humankind. One species of animals. This is elephant. Elephant is having certain features, certain habits, certain behavior, eating habits. Elephants do not eat flesh. Tigers, there is one species. Tigers don't eat grass. They eat flesh. That's why they get incisors. Their teeth are made. The tiger are born with such things which can help them to get their food by, get the flesh, get their food, that is flesh, by using these things which Allah has provided them, inborn, available to them. Such teeth, such power to kill a animal and then eat blood, drink blood, eat flesh. All those things we call such animals carnivorous. And cow and such animals herbivorous. That means the herbs, grass they eat. So this is the quality of a species. Similarly, human beings also is creature like animals. But this creature has also to be given something which is required for their existence. Tigers have been given something which is required for their existence and spending life for a certain period of time on earth. Herbivorous, carnivorous, all animals have inborn means to survive and to grow. Now when we come to human beings, they too have been provided. But what differs from animals is freedom of choice. They choose to accept the truth or not, to accept the option in the right way, apply in the right direction, or not accept, disobey the rule. This option is available. And the nature is weak. They don't do exactly like other creatures do. A creature, if doesn't have any life, not living creature, like sun and moon, they do the job exactly for which they were created. Sun was created to give light. Sun doesn't have option not to give light. Sun is hot, gives energy. This is the purpose of sun. If sun is not there, human being cannot survive. And the distance between sun and earth is kept very mathematically so accurate, the life is sustained because of this distance. If this distance is reduced, then the sun will burn. No life on earth. If this is increased or kept more distance, then everything will freeze. No heat, no energy. So this is well designed, well planned, well structured to perform the job for which this particular creation is given. Cattle is created to help human beings. Cow, we drink milk, cow's milk is our food. We eat flesh, beef, So these are the things which are useful to human beings. So cow is not like tiger. Is not a beast. Is friendly to human beings, serving human beings. Elephants. I have seen elephants which is being used as transport. And who is handling the tape and who is the driver? A human being, a boy sitting on the elephant's head and directing where to go, and the elephant obeys. Why such a big creature has to be obedient to the weak person? It can take into his trunk and throw. He can do this. But no, he doesn't do. Why? This is the plan. God has created the elephant to serve human being. If they properly tamed, then they do. So every creature does the same function for which it was created. And this thing is put in the time of birth. Inborn quality. But human being is different. This quality he doesn't have. He is having choice. Choice of following the natural laws or going against them, against the natural laws. What are natural laws? Nothing but God's laws. Since scientists, they do not believe in God, they use the term nature. It is in my nature. No, this is God's gift to you as a human being. It's not nature. This is the nature of an animal. No, this is the inborn quality, instinct. God has given instinct to animal. God has given brain to animal, but God has given mind to human being. Mind means intellect. You can do analysis. So these are the things which distinguish a human being from other creatures. So what I want to explain is, every creature does exactly same thing by following exactly the laws which were put in the creature's nature. The sun, the moon, the animals, the plants. The plant grows. The plant which is supposed to produce wheat doesn't give mangoes. Why? It doesn't. If you grow rose tree plant, grows, good smell, beautiful, attractive flower. The rose plant doesn't give any other flower. Why? It's a plant. Because there is no choice. Natural laws are strictly followed by every creature. Natural laws. Natural laws are, for a believer, Allah's laws, Allah's rules. But human being, he doesn't follow Allah's rules to great extent. A human being also has instinct, and he does certain things instinctively. Even if he doesn't like, he has that chemical, biological laws which operate in the body. So when the sleep comes in the night, he sleep. Even if you don't want, you do get sleep. So this is instinct. This means a law which is made as part of your nature, which is in animals, plants, instinctively. Okay. So this point is clear. Humankind as a biological species is one and the same. What does it mean? The nature of human being, wherever human being is there, is the same. Whether you are Chinese or you are American, whether you are black or you are white, African or Scandinavian, doesn't matter. Human being is human. And that's why human being, because of choice, there are good human beings, there are bad human beings. Every human being has this character. Either he is good or bad, either he is friendly or he is inimical. Some qualities in every society, human society, is there, whether society comes from any part of the world. This is human nature, species. So, this particular nature or inherent qualities using option to obey, to follow laws, Allah's laws or not, this is with human beings. But Allah is interested to see that this creature does the job for which he was created. What is the job for which he is created? Sorry? Worship. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Worship means to pray. Sorry? Worship is, which is defined, the word, Arabic word worship comes from abd. What is the meaning of abd? Slave, servant. What is the job of a servant? To do exactly for which he is employed. If I employed you as a house servant, and if you come to the house, instead of serving, doing whatever you are supposed to do, cleaning the house or washing the utensils, you open the TV and keep watching. Do you think this is acceptable? No, you kick out. I recruited for you for something and you are doing something else. Why like this? So human being is given option. So this is job allotted to you, that you should behave like an abd. So whatever you do like an abd, that means you follow the rules, you follow the instructions of the master. Who is the master? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this master, unlike human master, he doesn't have any personal interest by getting the job done to raise the status or gain something out of it. He doesn't need anything. He is the giver. Why he is be interested? So out of love, out of concern for the creature, he says, look, this is good for you, this is harmful for you. If you do, this is good for you. If you do this, it is harmful for you. So there comes the idea of good and bad. There comes the idea of morality, good morals. Who decides good morals or bad morals? Today we decide on our own. This is not correct. If human beings decide, they decide on the basis of their own status. People in Soviet Union, they thought communism is the best. And they decide. And they wanted to impose on people. But in the West, they said, no, capitalism is the best. We can make money, make love or life. So what is good? What is bad? If things have come from human beings, you are not the right source to decide what is good for human being, what is bad for human. The good and bad has to come from who? From the Creator, who has the knowledge of the creation, who has the wisdom to suggest. He is the supreme doctor to suggest what is wrong with you, what is good for you, for your health. And if he says, if doctor says, do this, you have to obey in your own interest. If you don't obey, khalas, you will suffer. The doctor will not suffer. So this is the way to understand. When God is one, that means one creator who has created the universe, who has created human being. He has created human being as a special creature, and the whole humanity is one species. It needs one system to govern the human life, and this system we say religion. This system of life is called religion by all human beings. We say deen in Arabic, in Islamic terminology. So this system or religion to govern humanity should be the one and same, because all human beings basically is one and the same by nature. The outward appearance for identification purposes, they may be different. They may have different facial features. Somebody's nose is very pointing out, prominent. Somebody's nose is flat. So I was working in the area, a remote area bordering China. The physical features, they are like Chinese, flat nose. And what is the beauty? The standard of beauty is the nose, how much flat it is, more flat means more beautiful. So what they do? They put something to keep flat and inserting bamboo in their nose. This is considered beauty. So this is your standard, your yardstick to see what is good. But other people, they say pointed nose, this is very good, this is beautiful. White, this is very good. Black, no, this is not good. This is what? This is your own standards. So this is wrong to human being to use the standards. Standards can be set only by the Creator. So if God is what human being is one species, one God, one humanity, one system to this species, human beings should be the same. Obvious conclusion. This is the reason we find commonalities, but they are not commonalities, but they are leftovers, remnants. Okay. What I'm trying to explain is that the religions in today's world, which we identified as different religions by different names, I don't agree. I don't miss based on valid reasons, based on the source, dependable source, the Quran and Sunnah, what I'm making statements. So my conclusion is, for example, other religions like Buddhism. Buddhism is not Buddhism as we see today, but Buddhism is originally, what was it? Originally Islam. This is the whole crux of it. Bottom line is, every religion is basically Islam. Not Islam as a label, but as attitude of human being towards the Creator. Attitude of submission, devotion, obedience. This attitude is functionally is Islam. So Quran uses in this particular thing. So, and I said there have to be something similar in all those religions which are identified today from different names, different titles. So I am quoting you today to explain that Buddhism is not Buddhism, it is originally Islam. So this particular video I am going to show you, it's a 2 minutes clip. I met one Buddhist person who converted to Islam, who accepted Islam in Japan. I went to Tokyo and stayed in hotel, and the person who drove me to the hotel was a Japanese. He was a revert or convert to Islam. So when I started conversation, he said he was Buddhist before, and then when I reached hotel, I told him, if you are Buddhist, how were you praying? And he demonstrated to me how he was praying as Buddhist. Then it was, to my surprise, he showed the way he prayed, used to pray as Buddhist. I said, okay, I will record and demonstrate. So he demonstrated, and you see. उसका थोड़ा लाइट बंद करो, पीछे डिम कर दो. Then I told him, I have recorded from the face side. I want to record from side. So he demonstrated once again the same thing. What did you see? What did you see? Salah. What are the arkan of Salah? Qiyam, Ruku, Sujud, all are there. Dua. What is this? This is Islamic practice. And who is doing this? A Buddhist. How is it possible? He does like Muslims. Even Muslims, when they pray, today different communities have little variations. Even Muslims differ, even though the whole thing is properly recorded and available to us, still there are differences. What about this 2000 years old prayer which is still existing? So they are the remnants, they are the leftovers, they are the glimpses of original Islam. So this is the point which will be clear to you, that for me all these major religions, ancient religions, were nothing but originally Islam, and they got impured with additions of human ideas, human thoughts, and they were identified by different labels, not Islam, but different names. So if you remove those impurities, what is left is pure Islam. Not only beliefs, but also practices, important practices. So this is a Buddhist. Okay, I thought, I requested him, can you please take me to the Buddhist temple? He took me, and I went to the temple, and before entering temple, I had to do something. Where is this gone? Okay, I think probably I missed this particular picture. Before entering temple, what I saw, you have to wash yourself. That means you are going to pray in the temple, you should make wudu. And there is water kept there. You have to take water and wash your feet, wash your hands. There is wudu. Concept of wudu is there. Of course, it's in a different way. Even we have differences between Shia wudu. They start from feet. Sunni wudu start the way Prophet did. But this concept did exist in Buddhism, an old religion. Still, this concept is purify yourself, wash yourself before appearing before God. What does it mean? There are leftovers of Islamic teachings. Of course, deviated from the true straight line. Instead of black line, we are on the red line. But the idea is there. So we should pick up these things and not go to debate with them for the differences. Oh, you are believing like this, we are believing like this, our religion is very good. This is comparing. There is no need to comparison. Inclusive approach. We are the same people. We were on the same highway. And you are going sideways. We know what is the highway because the source of our information is very trustworthy, and your source has so many defects. So accept our source and think about it. We cannot force them. We have to give chance to think. The main problem with non-Muslims is they don't think. Lock. Thinking is not existing. What is existing? Emotions. Imitation. If you are a Hindu, because you are born to Hindu family, this is the main reason. If you are a Christian, because you are born to a Christian family, this is the result. Does it apply to Muslims? If you are a Muslim, because you happen to born in Muslim family. Sorry? Is your Islam by investigation? No, by chance. By chance you happen to be born in Muslim environment, so you become Muslim. By chance the other person, Kumar, was born in Hindu family, that's why he is Kumar. Now Kumar has turned to discover the truth and now he is Salman. Salman was originally Kumar. He was interested in seeking the truth. Najma Pereira was a Buddhist. He discovered the truth. He accepted the truth. And she is better than many knowledgeable Muslims by chance. Her iman, her devotion, her attachment to Islam is far superior than many of us, including me. So we learn from non-Muslims when they convert for the sake of discovering the truth, we say their Islam is by choice, as against our Islam is by chance. This is a great difference. So what is expected of us? Our Islam should be by choice, not by chance. Of course, Alhamdulillah, by chance it so happened that I need not go through all those hard experiences to come to the truth. Allah made my job easy and was born in Muslim family. This is a great blessing. We should be thankful to Allah. But hats off to those who are not having this chance to be born in Muslim family and they turn to Islam. This is the reason why Allah says, if you accept Islam, your all past sins are forgiven. As if you are born now and innocent. You have nothing in your book of deeds. Clean slate. So, a convert stands at a higher level than a born Muslim. Muslim by choice stands at a higher level than Muslim by chance. So whenever a convert comes, I tell him, I congratulate him, I say, you are most superior person so far as relation to the Creator is concerned. You don't have any sin recorded in your acts, book of actions, book of deeds. Whereas we have. As Muslims, we are not perfect. Muslim is not a perfect human being and we make mistakes. We have small sins or big sins done unintentionally or intentionally, but still we are sinful. But this person is not sinful. Yes, so I think I could make my point clear. So then we come to understand Dawah. So remaining part, I will try to squeeze remaining part of our time to define or understand Dawah in my own simpler way related to our day-to-day life. What does it mean? And then the important thing which interests everybody, how to do this Dawah. I have developed a formula, easy formula, easy to remember, very practical, based upon the teachings of the Quran and Sunnah, but made easy. We have in our textbooks also something like key are made easy. So made easy means the same thing explained in a nice, simple way, attractive way, makes sense. So those things we will touch inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I am going back to the first day, what we started with the topic of what is Dawah. In this we approached by understanding what is the meaning of Dawah, dictionary meaning. What is the meaning of Dawah as an Islamic term? This we have covered. And I don't have time to give a recap because some more things are there to cover. Now we come to the third level, which is normally it is not available in normal literature. This is my own definition. To make this is not a scholarly definition, this is to share the concept, making a definition simple and meaningful. This is the idea behind this. Maybe I am not fully successful by mentioning this way, making this statement, but at least this will lead you to know what I mean by implied meaning. So, Dawah. The implied meaning is, the meaning of the term is inviting to the way of Allah. This is the verse which occurs in the Quran. Now, this I took as starting point. Making simple language understandable, inviting. Inviting means what is the activity? Activity of invitation. So what happens in this activity in practical terms? The one whom I invite, he comes from his or her place to attend to what I want to offer. If I want to offer food, I am calling for dinner on biryani, then I offer biryani when the person comes. So, invitation is to bring the person close to me so that I can offer. So, let us apply the same understanding. Invitation to give the message, not biryani, to give the message of Islam. So I have to bring the person close to me. Of course, if I am talking, explaining, already physically close. But close to me means mentally and spiritually also the person should be close to you. So this is the basic fundamental point to understand by the word invitation, the word dawa, in implied sense, in practical terms. Bring the person close to you, mentally and spiritually. Why? So that you become a vehicle, you become the means, a way, a channel to take the person close to God. Like Prophet ﷺ, he is the channel to introduce and to explain our connection with God. So we become this particular channel like a prophet, but on a micro level, mini level, and quality-wise very low level, but still this is the activity. What is that activity? In what I am explaining, what did you understand? What is this activity of invitation to bring the person close in order to take the person close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What do you understand by this?
Breaking the ice.
So,
Breaking the ice.
okay, it involves certain steps. She is telling breaking the ice. This is the aspect how to proceed. Sorry? क्या बोलते हैं?
To make a relationship with them.
To make relationship with them. Relationship with reference to what? What sort of relationship? Relationship of mind. Relationship, thinking. You should start a process of thinking. That means use mind. You think. I am telling you, offering you, like biryani I am offering you the message of Islam. In order to be close to me, it is my job to open his mind so that this person starts thinking. He remained Muslim because he doesn't think. He never thinks, he follows blindly. If the community says or their teacher says, worship Ganesh, they worship Ganesh. There no thinking involved. Ganesh is a god of protection with elephant's head and human body. It doesn't make sense. Even children don't accept this. But very intellectual persons, scholars of Hinduism, they accept it. Why? Because they don't use mind. They don't use reason. They don't use aql. So this particular information, which is impure, we have to make it pure. If the water is impure, what do I use to purify water? I use filter. So the filter is mental, intellectual, intellect, reason. This, when you filter through reasoning, then this becomes acceptable. The purity is removed. The information contains a lot of impurities. This information should make sense. What do you mean by, use this filter? You should contemplate on the validity, does it make sense or not? Your approach should not be justification of what you believe. The basis, the common sense, if this is missing, that means this filter is not working. Because the common sense filter is not being used. So the impurity remains. So, bringing close through opening the mind and touching the heart, what is the achievement? Achievement is that person is now on the same level mentally and emotionally. Mentally, emotionally is connected. And because this connection has made it possible to hear, not hear, but listen. Hear is in and out. Listening is use brain, use your emotions. You should appeal your emotions. You should feel happy. You should feel contented because it makes sense. Filtered through making sense, and then it gives you comfort in accepting it. The filtered thing should be acceptable emotionally. And using this filter of aql is not my own telling, but it is the Quran which is repeatedly asking us to use this filter. The Quran doesn't use the word filter, this is to make you understand. But reasoning is a valid way to faith. Faith is what? What is the place of faith? Heart, your emotions. So you may be emotionally connected, but not filtered, means impure. That's why Hindus don't hesitate to worship Ganesh. They have not filtered, but emotionally very strong. Emotionally very strong. Christians are emotionally strong to follow their way of accepting Jesus as God, as Savior. But filter says this is impurity. He was a creature born to a woman who underwent cleansing after the 40 days of birth of Jesus. So how can this be God? So this is the reasoning filter. If I don't pass through this filter, then I accept emotionally, I am there itself, but without filter. So this is what I want to explain. Okay, so ultimately what does it mean? It means, in essence, how I define dawa, connecting people. This is to understand. This is not an academic definition. This is not scholarly definition. This is layman's definition. It's a practical demonstration in actual life situation. It's not theory. It is actually keeping my practical approach. So this definition, connecting people. This connecting people is not out of blue. This is how the best Dai was the best connector. He connected people when he started Dawah. He connected non-Muslims. How did he connect it? He connected by opening their mind. He connected by their emotions, heart. So, if you recollect this story, I think I need not describe in detail, you already know. When he was commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to preach the Quraysh openly, previously it was limited to his home and to his friend. And in the process, his wife accepted him as messenger of God. His friend Abu Bakr Siddiq accepted him as messenger of God. Now Allah says at a time when it is suitable, go and preach. Kum fa'andir. Go and tell them, warn them, your ways are very dangerous ways. They are going to bring dangerous consequences. So he came. So his first task was, actually mission was to convey the message. He did not come to the people, knock the door, see, Allah has selected me as a messenger, say La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. He did not say like this. He did not say like this. He connected people first. How did he connect? He connected by calling them together. So when the call was given, everybody was interested in listening to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They say, Muhammad is calling, we should go. Because he is a person who is very serious about it, very sincere, he is very devoted, very honest, very truthful. So such a person who is very popular in the society, he is calling, so we should go. So many people came, including the leaders of the tribe, Quraysh tribe, including his own uncle, Abu Jahl, his own uncle, Abu Talib. Abu Lahab, they came to listen to him. So first question he asked was, he asked him in order to connect, to gain their confidence, to bring them in receptive mode mentally, he asked this question, I was with you for 40 years. My 40 years of life I have spent with you. How did you find me? They confirmed, they acknowledged, you are the most truthful, most trustworthy. As-Sadiq al-Amin. Then this was enough for him to proceed. He made further confirmation. He asked again a similar question. What did he ask? He asked, if I tell you, because he was standing on a hillock, the other side was not visible to the audience, and the whole audience, big crowd, was in front of him, one side. He asked, if I inform you there is an army of enemy, the other side, ready to attack, would you believe? This was the question. Everyone unequivocally, they said yes. Why? Because you are as-Sadiq al-Amin. When this reconfirmed, then he came out with the message. So he did prepare the ground before conveying the message. So my message is, prepare the ground, gain the confidence, connect them, to bring them in receptive mode, receiving mode, mentally and spiritually. So this is what he did. So we should do following his way, his manhaj, his way. This is just an example, one example. There are many examples in the history of Sirah and the generations during that time of Sahaba, companions of the Quran, which confirm this particular statement, connecting people. So let me define what do I mean by connection. We understand connection, what I meant, I briefly explained, but in order to be specific, to understand properly with a deeper thinking, I want to define. So I have defined this way. Connection, the process of the connection is an activity that makes an impact on the person's mind and heart. Person's understanding, thinking and feeling. Mind and heart. Mind is thinking. Heart is feeling. The job of heart is feeling. Iman is there. Okay. To reconfirm my statement, I put this figure. Connection heart to heart. My feeling, which comes out from my heart, it reaches the person's heart. It touches the heart. It should be proper way. When I am conveying the message, I am connecting, the person is connected because we both are on the same page, as we say. Same page. Same page means both our thinking and our feeling is similar. And that is, he is able to receive the message. Okay, to proceed further. This receptive mode, I put an arrow. When it is projected here, it is not visible. Is it visible to properly, legibly? There is one red arrow. This referring to the word, below the word starts, below the word receptive, and explanation here. How to bring the person? By triggering a thinking process. Thinking process should be switched on. You start, the car start, you put the switch on. You turn the key or press the button. So you have to do this triggering activity to start the thinking process and developing a feeling of confidence. He feels confident, happy and willing to agree. So this is connection. So to summarize, this we had covered earlier. And so based on so far how we tried to understand Dawah through its meanings, literal and as a terminology, Islamic terminology, what we conclude, Dawah includes any activity or every activity or any effort or any your input, direct or indirect. It is an input, it is an activity, whether it is direct or indirect, which brings the result that the person is started spiritual journey, that means connection with the God, understanding God. In this person, he gets some help. He is getting now pieces of information which is helping him in his journey to connect to God, to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So how to do this? There are different ways. possible ways. You can do any activity in any way. So what are those ways? It depends on your capacity, on your competency, your skill, and on your talent to connect. Some people are very smart, they are very good salesperson, they immediately sell their product. But others, they are not so good, but it is their nature, they cannot help. This is their capacity. So any activity you must do according to your capacity, best of your capacity. So this activity will be inshallah acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should not think that I am not very knowledgeable, don't have the skills or competency, I cannot do dawah, so I sit behind. No, this is not the approach, proper approach. You can contribute at any level, need not be scholarly level. If you are a scholar, then you will be more knowledge and more power. Knowledge is power, so this is added advantage. But you are Muslim, minimum is convey the concept of God, enough. If you cannot convey by speaking, okay, by writing, if you have talent in writing, write. No, you don't have any talent in writing, and you are a very generous person, you befriend, you offer him food. Food is a valid way of dawah. I will tell you one story. What do I mean this is? I read a story in my college days of conversion. A Russian Christian converted to Islam because he ate biryani. Biryani. In Russian it is called plow. Plow. If there is some Russian speaking, they can confirm this. So it is not just he ate and then immediately he became Muslim. No, it's not like this. It triggered the process. He thought these Muslims, they have such a good taste for food. So there must be good in their spiritual food, in their connection with God. Then he studied and he found, yes, it is so good, makes sense. He felt comfortable, he converted. So don't underestimate offering food. Dr. Zakir Naik, his lectures are very convincing, quoting left and right. His memory is very good. Nobody can compare. When he gave speech, one non-Muslim, he was impressed, but he did not accept Islam. He did not say Shahada. Then he was, the people were going and he was, I think, left alone or acceptable to Dr. Zakir Naik, and he asked, brother, have you taken food, dinner? Then he said Shahada. This is the story as told by him. He asked for food, a human weakness. And then he said, he is not talking only about religion, but he is connecting at a human level, as a human being, as a friend. Maybe ask friend, when a friend visits you, offer water, tea, snacks. Why? Out of friendship, out of connection, as a friend, the connection, as a human being. So this human touch is important. That is good connection. And human touch can be through any means. We don't understand this. We have some misunderstood notions that dawah has to be like this, like that. So I'm going to enlist certain notions, certain ideas which Muslims have in their minds. And these ideas have to be purified. They are not correct then these things should be addressed, these issues should be addressed. What is number one? Muslims generally think that the way we are doing dawah to Muslims, we can do the same way to non-Muslims. It is not correct. We do dawah to Muslims by inviting them to practice the 5 pillars of Islam. This is the approach, and this is the right approach. They know about Allah, so they don't need introduction of Allah. Or in order to make their iman strong, you may have to touch this point, but basically no Muslim, even is not practicing Muslim, no Muslim will identify any creature as God, any creature as Allah. No Muslim, non-practicing Muslim. On the other hand, a non-Muslim, he may be a scholar, he may be a PhD, but when it comes to religious activity, he accepts Ganesh as God. I keep quoting Ganesh because very typical example, such a foolish statement, but this is not discarded by even intellectuals because of not filtering. They don't use filter. Anyway, so their mindset is not the same. The Muslim mindset is different from non-Muslim mindset. For non-Muslim, priority should be, where should be the starting point? Not 5 pillars. What should be? What it should be?
Oneness of God,
Yes.
the true God.
Yeah. Instead of telling oneness of God, the true God, concept of God. Concept of God, that means the way you conceive God, the way you accept God, in what way. So, in order to elaborate what I mean by concept of God, I use 2 questions. Who is God? How is He? These 2 simple questions. If I get a dependable answer, source should be dependable, and convincing answer, it should make sense, then no problem. Whether he is Hindu or he is Christian, religion doesn't matter, I will accept. So what are the 2 points? It should be dependable, source should be dependable and trustworthy. If the source is fulfills these 2 requirements, so who is God? How is He? This is the first thing concerning God. And then the natural outcome of these 2 points, if God has these qualities, then how I relate to Him. This is one aspect. My relationship, that means vertical arrow, with God. This is one side of the story. How He relates to me, this is another side. The arrow is down pointing. So interrelationship is the third. So these 3 important questions have to be satisfactorily conveyed to non-Muslim. This is the starting point. Most important point. Don't use terminology, don't use the word Tawheed, don't use the word oneness of God. They are all correct theoretically, not in practical terms, not for the proper understanding. So make things simple. Introduce Allah in a way which makes sense to them, which is easy to understand, and adopt some way which is very convincing. He cannot deny. Convincing means he cannot deny. Your argument is such that he accepts. So these things need more elaboration, but lack of time. Their religious concepts views and understandings are different. There means Muslims versus non-Muslims. Both have their own sets of beliefs. So the activity of calling them has to be designed accordingly. Strategy, how to approach, this depends on are you able to connect a non-Muslim and how best you are able to connect. And this connection, we presume it is like connecting Dawah to Muslims. Dawah to Muslims, actually it is an activity of Dawah, invitation, but in effect it is Islah. It is not changing, converting a person's lifestyle, person's view on life. The Muslim knows I am accountable to Allah, but this particular belief may be weak. But non-Muslim is not aware, he is accountable to Allah, or aware but in a very deviated sense. So those things are to be, the strategies will be different. Okay. Now second point, second misunderstanding. We Muslims think that when we dawah, that means how many people you convert. If your statistics is that your conversion figure is high, then you are a good da'i. But if you are not, only you are not able to succeed, very bad da'i. Do you agree?
No.
Why?
Our thing is to convey the message, guidance is from the Allah. To open their heart is from Allah.
Yeah. If this is true, then Nuh alayhi salam is a big failure. But what is the position of Nuh alayhi salam? The first Ulul Azm messenger. Resolute, well determined. He did dawah for how many years? 950 years, not a joke. Generations. 950 years he did dawah to non-Muslims. But how many he could convert? If he converts one person in 10 years, one person in 10 years, then in 950 years, how many persons? 95. But was he able to succeed in converting 95 people? No. According to Hadith, the maximum number is about 80, less than 95, whatever figure is there, it doesn't matter. I want to make the point, 10 years he could not convert one person. But he is number one in the list of Ulul Azm Rusul, resolute, determined prophets. Who are the other four? You know? Do you know? Ulul Azm. Yeah. Nuh alayhi salam, then Ibrahim alayhi salam, then Musa alayhi salam, then Isa alayhi salam, then Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We should keep in mind that my job, my effort is to convey the message, not convert the person. Convey, not convert. Once I convey the message, but the message conveyance should be based on the Islamic principles. We will come to that. Based on what? Islam gives guidelines how to convey. If I conveyed using that principle to my best of my efforts, that's all. I am judged by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not like human court, it is Allah's court. Did you have the sincere attention? Yes, okay. Second, did you put sincere efforts to the best of your capacity? Yes. Still you could not convert, doesn't matter. The accomplishment or getting the final results, it is not, doesn't matter to Allah's judgment. Allah says, if you do the job with full sincerity and devotion and make in this direction all possible efforts, then forget it. You did not achieve, doesn't matter. Still you are rewarded as if you have achieved. So this is the beauty of Islam. So to make this point, Quran gives the example of when Prophet ﷺ, he loved his uncle Abu Talib, and Prophet ﷺ, he loved his uncle because after the death of father, the grandfather was raising him up, but when he died, early ages, then onwards, it was Abu Talib, Uncle Abu Talib, who brought him to keep as his own son, with full protection, with full care. He loved so much his nephew. And Prophet Muhammad also, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, likewise, he loved him so much. He is my protector. All enemies around, he stood strong against any harm to Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Till he was alive, nobody could dare to touch Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So they loved each other. But the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he tried his best to convert him to Islam, or putting this way because we are talking about conversion. He conveyed the message to Abu Talib with the intention to accept La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Did he accept? No. And he gave just his own justification. I will not accept. People will think that I am accepting under the pressure of his own nephew, leaving the tradition. He is a tribal chief, important person in the society. How come he just succumbed or yielded to his son's request? So his own position will be down. So this was adhering to the tradition he preferred. That is the occasion when this verse was revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. O Muhammad, you cannot guide whom you like, whom you love. It's Allah who guides. This is the important point. So don't look for conversions. Conversion is not in your hand. It is Allah who who is Muqallabul Qulub, who turns the hearts to accept Islam. He is the true guide. None but Him. That's why we make dua. When we do dawah, first we make connection to Allah by making dua. Another place, Islam is very clear. There is no compulsion in matters of faith. That means no pressure. If you are converting, make your own choice. You make your own decision. Convert, understanding that this particular thing is for your own good. So your conversion, your acceptance, your reversion should be willing. That means you want. And loving, you love to submit. And conscious, you are very conscious that what action you are going to take will be more safe than not accepting. So this should be the attitude. So this is explained in the Quran. Number 3, Muslims think that I have to do dawah, then I have to talk to the person, give lectures, maybe debates. When 3 decades ago, Sheikh Ahmad Deedat was in the news all over the world, debating with non-Muslims, achieving great success, humiliating the debater, Christian debater. So this is how many Muslims all over the world motivated to do dawah to Christians. In this motivation, they started debating, quoting like Ahmad Deedat, Sheikh Ahmad Deedat, marhum, left and right from the Bible. An ordinary Christian who has never read Bible or read only on certain occasions to certain extent, he doesn't get any benefit out of quoting left and right like a scholar. So this approach may be good, the debate approach may be good if the other person or Christian or whatever, he is also scholarly at your level. But so far as ordinary person is concerned, this is not applicable. This person will think, oh, you have studied something, memorized something, and you want to convince me. I am not a scholar, but I know Jesus is Son of God. Jesus is the Savior. So whatever arguments are giving from the Bible, I don't understand. He thinks that you are well prepared to attack him. So that pushes him away from receptive mode. Receptive means you have to start thinking process. Thinking process doesn't come with debate. Debate creates friction. Debate means both are on opposite side. You are on that side, I am this side. There is a tug of war. You pull and he pulls and you pull. So ultimately you succeed. Oh, you won the tug of war. Muslim debater has won. He winning the debate, but he is losing the person. Debate you can win, but not the person. Person can be won if his mind is with you. He is in receptive mode. And we are interested, our objective is to win the person, not the debate. So your strategy should be that winning the person, winning his heart, he should be happy, opening his mind, he is coming, understanding all those things. Lecturing, what is lecturing? What is giving speeches? What is having lecturing is in simple words, I said downloading information. It is remaining only information because information is the lowest level. It doesn't understand. Superficially, this understanding is there, not deeper understanding. Not deeper means no participation of heart, no participation of aql. So without filter of aql, without participation of heart, without feeling, if this information comes, this is downloading information, no use.
I have a question, please. So, what's the situation when debate will be okay? Like
Debate is okay because he is a scholar. He can listen to your argument. But ordinary person, he gets negative feeling. It is like, I give the example, a housefly, you want to kill with a gun. You don't need gun. Just one plastic, 100 fills, that is enough. When the fly sits here, immediately hit, gone. Why I should use gun? Gun using is quoting from Bible left and right to an ordinary person. Debating is valid only for the scholar. His intellectuality is at your level. Both are at the same level. So both understanding also will be of the same level. But this, if it is applied to a common man, he says, oh, this fellow has come prepared to attack me. I am not in a position to defend. Why I should accept this? So this puts him off.
But now if we are debating with a scholar,
Yeah.
the debate will not cause the reception mode not to be activated.
Yeah, because if the debater is stubborn person, which most of them they are there, most of them, not all of them. I have famous examples of a priest. He wanted to work on a Muslim to convert into Christianity and started debating. In the process, of course, the other person was not a scholar. He still, so whatever conversation was there, it was enough to open the mind of this Christian priest. He became Muslim. There are examples from America, and there is example from Sri Lanka, in Bahrain. This one Sri Lankan priest, he was employed in Saudi Arabia. He came to Saudi Arabia with the objective of this Muslim, I have to convert them. But in the process, he became Muslim. And he came to discover Islam. He gave lectures. So, basic requirement for any non-Muslim has to be open-minded. That means, don't be biased, don't be stubborn, don't be arrogant. You are sincerely looking for truth. There are certain persons with whom I feel uncomfortable. I feel I am wasting my time and energy. Why I should? So I put the condition, yes, brother, you are very strong Christian. I agree, I have no problem. You are still my friend. But the way you are putting doesn't make sense to me. So, lakum deenukum waliya deen. Your way is with you, my way is with you. We can remain friends. La nabtagil jahilin. Qalu salam alaikum. Okay, we remain friends. So, if the basic condition is you are not sincerely looking for the truth, you want to win the argument, then there is no use for stubborn people who are rigid-minded. So there should be some element. In the beginning, somebody may not be in receptive mode, but the arguments which you put forward with the patience you show to explain, then again slowly he can open the mind. So this is a process. So once we are sure he is a stubborn guy, then there is no need to debate, waste your time. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions, these people will never turn. Nuh alayhi salam, he was saying 950 years you have done so much. These people are not going to accept, these people will be drowned. So prepare a boat. Allah himself, subhanahu wa ta'ala, he himself commanded him to prepare a boat. When he was making the boat, people were laughing on him. Oh, where is the water here? In a dry land, you are doing this? You are a fool. They were laughing at him. The Quran reports, Nuh alayhi salam and his followers, they will laugh at them at a time. So, stubbornness, arrogance, adamant to remain attached to their own traditions. This is a factor which is coming in between. It is as a hindrance, obstacle. Dawah doesn't necessarily mean requires you to be a scholar. People, some Muslims, they don't get involved in doing dawah because their notion is, this is not my field. This is the field of scholar, alim. I am not alim. So this is one misunderstanding which doesn't allow you to be involved in any dawah activity. This is wrong. Alim or a scholar, his storehouse of knowledge. He has got a lot of knowledge. If a da'i who does dawah, who calls non-Muslims, even if he is not alim, he can do according to his capacity, according to his own effort, talent. But he has knowledge also, scholarly knowledge. This is added advantage. Knowledge is power. It's a weapon which makes you more suitable to fight. So this is, it doesn't mean that without knowledge I can proceed, but no. If you don't have knowledge, don't sit back, take initiative. As you proceed in your career of dawah, he will himself, when the non-Muslim asks some question, I don't know, but I must know. So I ask someone who knows, I read books, I get the information. This is how I become more knowledgeable. And when I say non-Muslims accepting Islam, my iman also becomes strong. So I grow. As a Muslim, I grow in my faith, in my iman, and in my understanding Islam. These questions they ask about certain Muslims are terrorists, women are oppressed, or all those things, many more questions. The answers are not known to Muslims. So they must know. But if somebody is interested in dawah, he should start doing dawah. We learn swimming by taking a dip in water. Oh, I am very averse to water, I cannot learn. In our days, childhood days, in our area, we were not using those life buoys. Nowadays, sophisticated days, we have safety things apply and then learn swimming. Those days, the teacher, swimming teacher, he is teaching in a pond or some well, water well, by pushing the person, pushing the boy. This is a pushes. He is not happy, he is disturbed and he is crying, but he learns. This is how learning process. Take the first step, even if the journey has 1,000 miles. The journey starts with the first step. If you don't take first step, how can you take a long journey? So don't think that I am not knowledgeable, I should not participate. No, whatever you can do, take step. Get involved. Learn, seeing the people what they are doing. This is a learning process. It is not overnight, you cannot become da'i. Every da'i has a background, starts from scratch and then gradually develops his career. So da'i is, he should have the knowledge about dawah, basic knowledge. That will be his first basic weapons to empower you to enter. But even if it is not there, there are many ways. There is no need to be alim. If your character is very appealing, your behavior is very attractive, enough. Silent dawah. You are not expressing any your scholarship, your ilm, knowledge, just behavior. I've got many examples, but there is no time to mention. This is another comment which I got when I started my career of addressing Muslims to encourage do dawah. So in one gathering, one Muslim brother, he got up, he said, "Brother, what you are saying is all good, we should call. But first you should do this activity to Muslims." He justified, see, first you have to you should have light arrangement, first your home, then the question of masjid, mosque. Darkness is there in your own home, but you want to put light in the masjid, this is not acceptable. Priority goes to your home. This was his argument. So, how do you respond?
Should go together. Not together.
What is the response?
But if the home is already
No, it is, may not, no. Home is not already. Muslims are, their Muslim majority is not practicing Muslim. Anywhere. Even in Egypt. Leave alone India, non-Arabic country. Muslims are by name. Sorry? Yeah. The fallacy in this question is, this is how I answered. These two things, those activities, doing dawah among non-Muslims and doing dawah among Muslims. Naturally, Muslims have preference over non-Muslims. But they both can go concurrently at the same time. There is no clash. Why you are presuming a clash? If I am doing non-Muslims, it doesn't mean you stop doing Muslims. So to justify my argument, I asked him, "Brother, you give me a date when all Muslims become practicing Muslim and next day onwards I will start." Do you have any date? No, it's not possible. This is not practical. This is ideal, but it's not practical. And then I said, what dawah of the Prophet ﷺ, what is Sunnah? He called non-Muslims. Of course, he was educating Muslims who accepted Islam, but his own activity was oriented to non-Muslims, practice non-Muslims. The people in darkness, they were brought, he was bringing to light. So these are the basically things which I had to tell. And another point which I mentioned was, okay, you are right, we have to do dawah to Muslims, because Muslims are many non-practicing Muslims. But there are organizations we are already existing. When I started my career in dawah, there was a talk when I was given this particular comment. This was before 9/11. Before earlier days, nobody was interested. Of course, after gradually, as the time passed, they started realizing, yeah, we should do dawah. So it became open house and all that started later on. So before that, this was the attitude. There are many organizations. Collective level it is done. Dawah to Muslims is done on collective basis internationally. Is there any organization you know which is done? Which is takes up this task of doing dawah to Muslims? You don't know? Sorry?
So many.
Which organization? Jamaat Tabligh. Tabligh Jamaat.
Every Friday is dawah for Muslims, like the Friday khutbah.
No. That is ritual. A concerted effort. Tabligh Jamaat people are very dedicated, though don't have any organizational structure like organizations, but every individual sincerely and nicely does dawah. International level. And one person from one country goes to another country and does dawah. So they say, Jamaat has come from this particular place. Jamaat has come from America. The white man present there, he has become Muslim, so he travels. This is very effectively they are doing successfully. At least whatever way they are adopting, there may be some weaknesses, some negative points, but negative points do not make it the activity as to be rejected. No. Whatever good they are doing, we should appreciate. It will encourage. At least something is happening than nothing. And the ways they adopt, they are acceptable to a great extent. They are also connected to Quran and Sunnah, but they have some problems and they want the Muslims to be connected to the masjid. This is a very good objective. So all this is to be appreciated. There is Ikhwanul Muslimin. This is for Muslims. Of course, they also have wing to address non-Muslims. Jamaat Islami, the Asian counterpart, India, Pakistan, is Jamaat Islam. These are addressing mainly Muslims. Okay, these organizations exist in Muslim society, but there is no concerted effort on organizational level for non-Muslims. The organization like Discover Islam, we started in 1986. This was a unique organization. It became popular elsewhere because we are focusing only on non-Muslims. But there were Muslims who got benefited. We did not stop. No, this is non-Muslims, dawah. We don't want like this. No. We accommodated those things. In fact, it became the learning center for dawah, for Muslims. So focus, initiative is non-Muslims. The principles of dawah remain same in both the cases. Now, this is another misconception. This is based on my personal experience. We were doing dawah to some housemates in Bahrain. They were sending their housemates to discover Islam, to learn Islam, to know about Islam. They are mostly Filipinas, from Philippines. So the Filipina teachers, they were speaking their own language, Tagalog, and they were explaining. So this connection was there. So that resulted in accepting most of them Islam. That means reciting Shahada. When they recited Shahada, next week they disappeared. So I called, what happened? You are not sending your housemates? No, they have made Shahada, khalas. Why we should send? I said, no, now this is the time to send to discover Islam. Shahada is only they have entered the gate. They have entered the house. They have not entered still. You have to ground them. You have to support them until they stand alone. They feel self-confident. So that is the journey. The spiritual journey doesn't end with Shahada, it begins with Shahada. Another point which I felt relevant to address the issue of new entrance of Islam is that those who leave their own religion to come to Islam, they come after sacrifices. Most of them, not everybody, some lucky ones are exceptions, but majority of them, they have to leave their families, their comforts, their lifestyle. They have to sacrifice. So I compared this from Islamic history of the the event of migration. Muslims who accepted Islam could not stay in the non-Muslim environment. They were troubled. They were tortured to the extent even the Prophet ﷺ, his life was attempted. Then Allah told, yes, you migrate to Medina, a safer place. So non-Muslims, when they convert to Islam, they are like Mahajirun, immigrants. They have immigrated from their own way of life to this new way of life, this new concepts of life. So they are like Mahajirun, immigrants, and we should be like
Ansar people.
Ansar, helpers. And what did the Prophet ﷺ do in Medina? He established Maqawa. He made every migrant a brother of every resident from Medina, Ansar. And he told them you should share with them. They have no property with them. They have no nothing with them. They have come all alone because they have accepted the truth in a safer place. They have come at this place. Now we have to treat them as a brother. And this event is exemplary in human history. Never in human history, this brotherhood which is displayed at that time is human history has never seen this, such an thing. It is reported that even they shared not only the wealth, not only the property, but one Sahabi was having 2 wives. He was prepared to share one wife with the Mahajir. And he told, I have 2 wives. The Prophet has said that you should share. So I want to share with you even my wife. So you choose which one you like. I will divorce her so that you can marry. To that extent, imagine this brotherhood, sense of helping. This is real help. So Ansar's position is also very high in Islam. So we should consider them as they have performed hijrah, leaving behind so many things which a person wants to have possess from worldly point of view. Okay, going further on this. This is just an explanation of this. Okay, I'm coming close. This doesn't need elaboration. This is very clear. So I will not spend time. If you have taken picture or recorded, then I can proceed. What is required is transformation. That means change, a total change. And the Prophet ﷺ has shown the human history that change he brought collectively to people of Arabia, the tribes, nomadic tribes, uncivilized tribes, always fighting, killing, and for petty reasons, for generations. Their wars used to go for generations. One tribe, camel came to the other side, ate grass. So he killed the camel. Oh, you killed the camel? We will kill your people. So they started tit for tat, and the wars continued for generations. This was their status. They used to bury daughters. They want to keep only sons. This was their activity. Very uncivilized. Of course, they had some positive things like memory power, literature, things were there. But these are things which were not suiting. So nobody outside the Arabian Peninsula was interested in looking at this side. They were insignificant people. And these same people, after embracing Islam, what happened? They become the leaders of human civilization. From a non-entity in the world history, they become the superpower. The existing superpower those days, the Roman Empire on one side, and the Persian Empire on this side, they surrendered to Muslim Empire. And Muslim Empire kept growing. Within 100 years, it reached China. 100 years. And it is reported there is one grave of a Sahabi, a companion, that means early days, when there was no aeroplane to go to China. There was no iPhone or smartphone for communication. This is the status of our civilization. And from that level, they become the world leaders, leading in science, leading in technology, leading in military, leading in arts, culture. Every area of human civilization, they were the leaders. The invention of basic science disciplines, Muslims were the pioneers. For example, Ibn Sina, the West understands as Avicenna. They have changed, they anglicized the names, Latinized. So when you read the name, it looks like outsider, but he is Muslim. Ibn Sina, his area of research and invention was medicine. He is considered father of medicine. And Europe, those days, was in darkness. His book, Qanun at-Tibb, Canon of Medicine, was a standard medicine book for how many years? In the universities was being taught 400 years. This was the standard. The Muslim universities, the concept of university was a Muslim concept. The people from West, from those small kingdoms, from England, France, Holland, Finland, all those small kingdoms, Russia, their people used to come to attend to Islamic universities. Not like today. We are going to their universities, to UK, to America. They became Islamic centers. Previously, when Muslims were on the highest level, it was just the opposite. And then we lost the spirit of Islam. We got attached to worldly things, worldly attractions, made our Iman weak. This was the time when our downfall started, and we became colonies, Western colonies, and we remain in that status ever since. Our education system is spoiled, gone. They have divided this secular education, this is religious education. They separated religion with way of life. This is not Islamic concept. Because they wanted to suppress or eradicate Islam, they could not succeed. So they thought, we cannot succeed this, so better to keep Muslims busy in their acts of worship. We will make mosques them, we will support the imams, we will support the mosque management, but let them not take part in other activities, government activities. So they made this a separate compartment, secular and religious. And teachings, all teachings were put according to this, their own. Education system was infused with this concept, which went deep in the Muslim minds. So this was a great setback. So what Islam is interested in? Transformation. I gave this example of collective transformation after accepting Islam. At individual level, micro level, you can find this transformation in individuals. We have the example of Dr. Najma here in this hall. It's a transformation. She wanted to become medical doctor, but she has done PhD. She has become doctor, but in his Islamic studies, Sharia. I am Sayyid Ali. I started, she was my student, but now his position is high. I have to be her student. Just reverse. This is the change, transformation to such an extent. This transformation is the basic thing which we are interested. How this transformation comes, this we have to see the examples, read the stories how about converts. There are two examples here, both ladies, one from UK. Both are from UK. Lauren Booth, Tony Blair's ex-Prime Minister's sister-in-law. She gave lecture in Chicago, America. Yvonne Ridley, journalist from UK, she was caught by Taliban. And she was thinking that I am gone now. Taliban means anti-Muslims, anti-Kafirs. They are going to kill me by stoning or by shooting. She didn't know, but she was sure they will kill her. But the same Taliban, they addressed her sister. That was the transformation start, triggered the transformation. And she, at the time when America started bombarding, that time she was given a copy of Quran. Sister, we cannot keep you now. We are going to hides in mountains. We will release you provided you read this book. She promised, she read the book, and the outcome was this. She was a journalist. When this journalism, where she was employed, I think independent, news agency, They accused, what happened to this Yvonne Ridley? Stockholm syndrome. She is suffering from Stockholm syndrome. There is something wrong, mentally programmed by Taliban. What is this? And she is removed from the job. She has suffered. She came to Bahrain. I gave her the mosque tour also. So these are some stories. Similar stories, there are many more stories you can find on YouTube. Very learned persons, priests from other faiths, they are scholarly people from other faiths, heroes in sports, in singing, they have come to Islam. How they could come? So this is worth knowing. Then your Iman will be strong. Okay, then we come to how. I will try to complete in 10 minutes, hopefully 15 minutes. Okay, what is the basic requirement Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the activity of our invitation, our dawah? There are two things only, not many. That means dawah should be done with wisdom. Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah. And second activity, second requirement, beautiful preaching, mau'izat al-hasana. So let us try to understand what are these two things. Okay, can anybody define wisdom? What is wisdom? You understand wisdom, no? Yes or no? Anybody who doesn't understand wisdom? We have idea about wisdom, what is wisdom, but we cannot concretely define it. I need definition. When you define, then things become clear. I can judge my own assessment, I can make with reference to the definition whether I am able to achieve this particular thing or not. Then it becomes more effective in practical application of this understanding. So what is wisdom?
Do the right thing at the right time.
We cannot define by one definition. You have to see from one angle, you have to see from another angle, and you see from another angle. All those put together, this is the concept of wisdom. But we cannot have all those things put together, so we have to sort out whatever applies in our case. So there are many definitions I listed. These are not the only definitions. These definitions are enough to help me to achieve, to see whether I am able to accomplish my task of dawah. If I am doing the right thing at the right time, in the right way, then I get the positive results. That means I get the desired results of person accepting Islam. I am interested in the person accepting Islam. Beautiful preaching. What is the implied understanding of beautiful preaching? Beautiful preaching looks, we understand, but in practical terms, in concrete terms, when we define, then we understand. So beautiful preaching is not just giving lectures. Preaching means engaging or reminding in a way that touches the heart. That means the person feels happy because the way you adopted is appealing. There should be appeal. Hasana. Hasana means the best way. Hasana. Hasana is good thing. Causes delight, happiness, wished for, desirable, most suitable, all this apply. Okay, how we apply wisdom in Dawah? We have to apply in the attitude of our activity to non-Muslims. In approach, when we approach non-Muslims, what approach? The approach needs wisdom and the methodology. Okay. When attitude, what does it mean? What the Quran says about this? Attitude in speech. The Quran says, speak good words to people, whether Muslims, non-Muslims. Your speech should be very good. Don't look down upon. Don't say things which hurts the feelings. Don't hurt their feelings. And there are other things which are very clear, no need to elaborate. Attitude. When you do dawah, do in a way which appeal. Of course, there are many activities which are true, but they may be hurtful to the people. So when we bring in the first place the good news, then give the bad news. But don't start with bad news. Gone, person is not available. There are many instructions, teachings, but only two I have selected out of that, which are very relevant to our this thing. When we deal with the people, interact with the people, these are the guidelines. From who? From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His kalam, His speech, most dependable, trustworthy, most important source. He is telling like this. In approach, now this is approach. The wisdom in approach is to proceed step by step. This is the wisdom in approach. Step by step. When you want to climb these stairs, you first go to the first step, then you go to the next step. This is how you go upstairs. But you cannot jump to third step. If you jump, maybe you will reach or maybe you will fall. The steps are made to pass one by one, not to jump over. So step by step. And this is the step by step is the way how Islam was introduced to non-Muslims in Islamic history. Step by step. How step by step? The most important thing, which is Salah after Shahada, most important duty for a Muslim, Salah, this was not made obligatory or a farad in the beginning. For how many years? Until the event of Isra and Mi'raj, which is about 2 years before migration. Why so much time? 10, 11 years, 11 years or 12 years. What was being done? People were praying, but it was not compulsory. The Prophet ﷺ, he did not give list of 5 pillars. You have become Muslim, now you have to do this, you have to do this. There was no such a list. The next obligatory act of worship, what was Zakah and Saum. They were made obligatory 2 years after Hijrah. Time, step by step. When was Hajj made, last pillar of Islam, Hajj made compulsory? 9 years after Hijrah. When the prohibition of wine, drinking wine, abstaining from intoxicant and using usury or interest on money, towards the end, step by step. This is the hikmah, step by step. And through this there is hadith also, and there is no time to talk about. The other things which are relevant is marketing. Marketing means you are interested in a strategy that you get the objective fulfilled, objective of selling your product, that is Islam. The other approach is doctor's approach. Doctor, when treats some patient, this patient may behave very erratically. He may shout, he may do something which is not normal person does. But doctor doesn't feel bad. He has patience and he treats and cures what is wrong. Say, Dai is treating the sicknesses of the heart, spiritual sicknesses. The Dai is a spiritual cardiologist. So you have to, doctor, what does he do? He sees the symptoms, comes to the diagnosis, what is wrong, and then treats. So this treatment is suggested according to the sickness. So the wisdom of the Dai is to behave like a doctor. But I will focus on the aspect of step-by-step approach. I call it ABC of Dawa. What does it mean? ABC? ABC of anything, any science, any subject. Fundamentals, basics. We say ABC or Aribata. Aribata fundamentals to start with. So I use this as ABC of Dawa. But what I do not use this alphabet ABC, but I use AABBCC in Dawa. These are the steps in Dawa activity. So I identified 6 steps. So what will follow after AABBCC? DDEFF. Very easy to remember. Easy formula. Very effective formula based on the principles given in the Quran and the Sunnah, the Seerah of the Prophet. Okay. What is this AABBCC? AA is abbreviation, acronym of attractive approach. A is attractive, another A is approach. What is BB? You can see break the barriers, both B, or build the bridges, B. These 2 things are intended to bring the person close, which is the meaning of Dawa. These 2 things are initial steps. Okay, what is CC? C, cash in. Another C, commonalities. Or capitalize on commonalities, CCDD. Now I come to the next 3 steps. I have to elaborate more on this quickly. So I proceed. This formula is very generalized and is not fixed after, there may be some overlap also. This overlap may be short or long. This depends on the situation. So, this is a very generalized formula, but very effective formula. In this formula, AA, BB, two steps, these are two steps which are required before any interaction. Before you land into Dawah activity, before you start speaking about Islam, these two things are important. Attractive approach. What is the objective of attractive approach? Break the ice. Now, these two steps are required during the interaction, during the conveying the message, during your conversation. What are these steps? Talk about commonalities. Start with commonalities. Don't jump to differences. Why? Commonalities help, prompts to remove the feeling of the other camp. If you mention some commonalities, the person will feel closer. The same person who was thinking an enemy, a Muslim is an enemy, no more that particular concept, mindset. Because there's something common discovered. How can this be enemy? No. Then, but we have to talk about differences. Otherwise, it will mean that, okay, we have certain common things, we agreed, and you be happy with your things, I am happy with my things. No, you have to talk about the differences. But differences should not be talked about first. You cannot talk to a Hindu, oh, what is this idol worship? You don't have any common sense. You are worshipping Ganesh. This is offensive approach. If you mention, how come you have the concept of paradise and hell, which is the original concept? How come you have got this concept? Where from? So there is something common. Life after death, there is something common. So all those things, commonalities, when we highlight, in fact, in India, some Hindu, he mentioned these commonalities, letters to editor. And one Muslim, he strongly refuted, no, there are no things. So I happened to be on vacation at the time. When I saw this letters to editor and the comments from a Muslim, then I felt like correcting this. So I wrote things to convince them this is not the case. Actually, we have commonalities, and I mentioned those things. Done? Okay, these are supporting evidences from the Quran. I am not telling out of blue or there is no base in the Quran, there is base. These are some quotes. Now, these 2 steps out of 6, 4 I have mentioned, A, B, B, C, C, D, D. Now, these 2 last steps, they are after the interaction. Interaction is already done, message has been conveyed. Then also there are some steps required. It is not end of it. What are those steps? EE, evaluate your efforts. Whether you have done the right way or wrong way. What is the outcome? Did he accept your arguments and started thinking process or failed? Maybe he has already made shahada by your efforts. So you stop. No. Still you have to evaluate what efforts, how best you could convince him to make shahada. Try to improve this. There is always room to improve, whatever you do. Quality, bring quality into this. If the person has not accepted, he argued, then evaluate why this happened. First you have to see, is there any weakness in my approach? Normally we blame the other side. We put the blame, whole blame, this fellow is hard nut to crack. I made so much effort, wasted money on him, wasted time and energy, but this, he is remaining stuff. But actually, truly speaking, it was your mistake. You did not have the right approach. But you say that whatever you did, I am right. So this feeling should not be there. You should be humble enough to find out, is there any mistake which because no job we can do perfectly and nobody can see his own back or own weaknesses, somebody has to point out. So when independent thinking is there, not biased thinking, not feeling that I am right, so this is detrimental. So we have to, even both cases, whether success or failure, you have to do a post-event analysis. We started 15 minutes late, so I am ending 15 minutes late, compensating. Okay, but not actually, this is the reason, but I am glad that I kept you engaged. I hope nobody is sleeping. Yes, yes. This is the end of it. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you very much.
Jazakumullah.